Humanistic versus authoritarian ethics. If we do not abandon, as ethical relativism does, the search for objectively valid norms of conduct, what criteria such norms can we find? The kind of criteria depends on the type of ethical system the norms of which we study. By necessity, the criteria in authoritarian ethics are fundamentally different from those in humanistic ethics. In authoritarian ethics, an authority states what is good for man and lays down the laws and norms of conduct. In humanistic ethics, man himself is both the norm giver and the subject of the norms, their formal source of regulative agency and their subject matter. The use of the term authoritarian makes it necessary to clarify the concept of authority. So much confusion exists with regard to the concept because it is widely believed that we are confronted with the alternative of having dictatorial, irrational authority or of having no authority at all. This alternative, however, is fallacious. The real problem is what kind of authority we are to have. When we speak of authority, do we mean rational or irrational authority? Rational authority has its source in competence. The person whose authority is respected functions competently in the task with which he is entrusted by those who conferred it upon him. He need not intimidate them nor arouse their admiration by magic qualities, as long as and to the extent to which he is competently helping instead of exploiting. His authority is based on rational grounds and does not call for irrational awe. Rational authority not only permits but requires constant scrutiny and criticism of the subject to it. It is always temporary, its acceptance depending on its performance. The source of irrational authority, on the other hand, is always power over people. This power can be physical or mental. It can be realistic or only relative in terms of the anxiety and helplessness of the person submitting to this authority. Power on the one side, fear on the other, are always the buttresses on which irrational authority is built. Criticism of the authority is not only not required, but forbidden. Rational authority is based upon the equality of both authority and subject, which differ only with respect to degree of knowledge or skill in particular field. Irrational authority is by its very nature based upon inequality, implying difference in value. In the use of the term authoritarian ethics, reference is made to irrational authority, following the current use of authoritarian as synonymous with totalitarian and anti-democratic systems. The reader will soon recognize the humanistic ethic is not incompatible with rational authority. Authoritarian ethics can be distinguished from humanistic ethics by two criteria, one formal, the other material. Formally, authoritarian ethics denies man's capacity to know what is good or bad. The norm giver is always an authority transcending the individual. Such a system is based not on reason and knowledge, but on awe of the authority and on the subject's feeling of weakness and dependence. The surrender of decision-making to the authority results from the latter's magic power. Its decisions cannot and must not be questioned. Materially, or according to the content, authoritarian ethics answers the question of what is good or bad primarily in terms of the interests of the authority, not the interest of the subject. It is exploitative, although the subject may derive considerable benefits, psychic or material, from it. Both the formal and the material aspects of authoritarian ethics are apparent in the genesis of ethical judgment in the child and of the unreflective value judgment in the average adult. The foundations of our ability to differentiate between good and evil are laid in childhood. First with regard to sociological functions and then with regard to more complex matters of behavior. The child acquires a sense of distinguishing between good and bad before he learns the difference by reasoning. His value judgments are formed as a result of the friendly or unfriendly reactions of the significant people in his life. In view of his complete dependence on the care and love or the adult, it is not surprising that an approving or disapproving expression on the mother's face is sufficient to teach the child the difference between good and bad. In school and in society, similar factors operate. Good is that for which one is praised. Bad, that for which one is frowned upon or punished by social authorities or by the majority of one's fellow man. Indeed, the fear of disapproval and the need for approval seem to be the most powerful and almost exclusive motivation for the ethical judgment. This intense emotional pressure prevents the child, and later the adult, from asking critically whether good in a judgment means good for him or for the authority. The alternatives in this respect become obvious if we consider valued judgments with reference to things. If I say that one car is better than another, it is self-evident that one car is called better because it serves me better than another car. Good or bad refers to the usefulness the thing has for me. If the owner of a dog considers the dog to be good, he refers to certain qualities of the dog which to him are useful, as for instance, that he fulfills the owner's needs for a watchdog, a hunting dog, or an affectionate pet. A thing is called good if it is good for the person who uses it. With reference to man, the same criterion of value can be used. The employer considers an employee to be good if he is of advantage to him. The teacher may call a pupil good if he is obedient, does not cause trouble, and is a credit to him. In much the same way, child may be called if he is docile and obedient. The good child may be frightened and insecure, wanting only to please his parents by submitting to their will, while the bad child may have a will of his own and genuine interests, but ones which do not please the parents.